welcome. You're watching Medically Speaking, and I'm Meenakshi Upreti. Today, we'll be talking about what else but coronavirus, but in relation to the vaccination. Now, I'm hoping that all of you watching the show either have already been vaccinated or are at least planning to get vaccinated at the earliest. Now, what's the most crucial part when it comes to vaccination? Yes, it's the cold chain. But how much do we really know about the cold chain process in India? Who are the private players who are working in this field? Where does India lack when it comes to our cold chain system? And what can we do to significantly improve our performance? To discuss this and much more, I have someone very special. Mr. Jaisal Doshi is with us. He is the CEO of B Medical Systems. Now, this is a global player in the cold chain, and they have tied up very recently with Dr. Reddy for the rollout of the Sputnik vaccine. Hello, sir. Thank you for joining us on Medically Speaking. First of all, help us understand what your company is about, what you do, and about, especially, which is of utmost interest to every Indian, about your latest collaboration with Dr. Reddy's and the role you will be playing in the rollout of the Sputnik vaccine.
Sure, Meenakshi. Thank you. Pleasure to be here. I think just to give a quick introduction to B Medical Systems, we are the world's oldest and the world's largest company focused purely on vaccine cold chain. And we have been providing solutions for the safe storage and transportation of vaccines, pharmaceuticals, blood for the last 40 plus years. We're a company based in Luxembourg in Europe, and we have been manufacturing there till early this year when we received an invitation from the Prime Minister Narendra Modi to start manufacturing in India. Post receipt of that invitation, we have in a record span of 4 months set up our own manufacturing in India. So this is the first time we manufacture outside India, rather outside Luxembourg. And for me, it's a matter of great pride that we've decided to do it in India. Now, coming to your question around vaccine cold chain, maybe I can just explain a little bit what it is, and specifically also talking what do we do with Dr. Reddy's and the Sputnik vaccine. So essentially, almost each and every vaccine is temperature sensitive. And by that, what I mean is if you do not store it at the right temperature, the vaccine loses its efficacy, its potency, and basically becomes water. So most vaccines require to be stored at 2 to 8 degrees Celsius. The Sputnik vaccine requires to be stored at all times below minus 18 degrees Celsius. On the other hand, if you look at the Pfizer vaccine, which is very common all around the world, that requires to be stored at a temperature of minus 60 degrees Celsius or below. And of course, what this means is it's pretty challenging to keep the vaccine at these temperatures at all times in extremely harsh and challenging conditions. And that's where we come in, because we make sure that any vaccine at any temperature, under any condition, is maintained correctly. And hence, when somebody receives a vaccine, he or she is assured that the vaccine was indeed stored and transported at the right temperature.
Right. And so you've mentioned 2 points. One about Pfizer. There's a lot of curiosity around that. And secondly, about the challenges. Let's first talk about the challenges you faced. You know, when we speak of India, yes, metropolitans, we still have a pretty much robust system. But there are a lot of unhospitable areas. The terrain, you have, erratic electricity supply. How are you managing those challenges? First, tell us the challenges you faced and how you're managing them.
Well, so I think there are two different sets of challenges. One is the challenge in terms of the environment and the terrain, where you still, which as you mentioned, is challenging. And I think the other one is a very peculiar one to India, and I'll come to that one first, which is in India, the mindset is "Thanda hai to chalta hai," right? So what you do see as a huge challenge, even in the metros, for example, is for a 2 to 8 degree vaccine, people use ice boxes. People use thermocol boxes, picnic boxes. And what they do not realize is these vaccines, if they go below 0 degrees, which is almost guaranteed to happen in these ice boxes or picnic boxes, the vaccine is absolutely useless. And so, somebody taking a vaccine thinking that this will save my life is actually going to be shocked when the vaccine will simply not have its intended benefits. And so I think that is a very peculiar challenge to India, which is, people use cold drink fridges, for example, and there are many such cases. Now, the other one, when it comes, which was your question around the terrains, we have equipment that works using a wide variety of power sources. So, for example, we have equipment that can work purely on solar energy or purely on DC from a 12-volt car charger, or it could be pure kerosene or gas or conventional electricity. And all of these, we have solutions that can maintain any temperature from minus 80 degrees all the way to plus 25 degrees using any of these power sources. So I think that that part of the challenge, which is extremely remote and harsh environments, is frankly not a challenge for us. To give you some context, the entire vaccine cold
Hmm.
chain in places like Afghanistan, in places like the Congo or the Amazon forest in Brazil is run and maintained by us.
Right. And so talk us about, rather take us through really the role your organization has played when it comes to vaccine distribution in India. You spoke about, of course, PM Narendra Modi's initiative. Take us really through what your company is doing when it comes to supplying vaccines at various places. And it is a big challenge, as you rightly mentioned. We are talking about the entire adult population of this overpopulated country.
Yes, it is extremely challenging, and I think today India has administered more or less about 40 crore doses,
Yes.
when you, I think this so far, believe it or not, was the easy part of the journey, because you now start having issues with reaching people in very difficult locations. If you look at the mix, for example, of urban versus rural, of the 40 crores, it's hugely skewed in favor of urban India, which means that people
Yes.
in small villages, in small towns, haven't received a vaccine. And
So what are
one
you
of
doing
the,
to what are you doing to bridge that gap?
yeah, so we are providing solutions to the governments, both the central as well as the state governments, as well as we are
Okay.
working with Dr. Reddy's, for example, for the Sputnik vaccine. Today, each and every Sputnik vaccine goes through a B medical piece of equipment. And it is to ensure that, irrespective of where the user, or not the user, but the recipient is, we make sure that we provide equipment to store and transport a vaccine to that particular location.
And
And
so
so,
you also spoke about the importance of the right way of storing vaccines. You cannot put it in an ice pack, you can't put it in a refrigerator. The efficacy is going to reduce considerably. It may just really have no effect. Take us through, help us understand, for the benefit of our viewers, the importance of the cold chain system, and where do you think India stands when we talk about the same?
so I think the importance of a cold chain system cannot be emphasized more than the vaccine itself. I think the vaccine is essentially will work only if you have the right cold chain, right? So even if you have the best vaccine in the world, but if you don't have the right cold chain, it will not work. And I don't think this needs any further explanation than that. Vaccines do have essentially very volatile active ingredients, and these decompose if not kept at the right temperature. It is not, for example, the Sputnik vaccine, there isn't a cold chain in the country that is existing to actually take that vaccine, which means that you have to set up a completely new infrastructure to distribute that vaccine. It is also, I would say, the largest reason why the Pfizer vaccine has not been introduced in the country, because it requires
Yes.
what is known as an ultra cold temperature. And again, I mean, we have introduced the Pfizer vaccine in more than 25 countries around the world, including countries in Africa, where you have conditions which are way worse than India.
Hmm. And so specifically talking about the Pfizer vaccine, because I at the beginning also said that in India there's a lot of curiosity around it, but we know that it's not available to us, mainly because, of course, of the type of temperature it requires to store and transfer that vaccine. One, I think you already answered that question. I was going to ask that your company can indeed provide, the logistical support needed to transfer and store the Pfizer vaccine. But do you think India is equipped, maybe? at least by the end of the year or maybe next year to bring Pfizer vaccine into our country, considering the efficacy of the vaccine seems to be quite high.
Yes, and I think India is maybe not taking the right step in introducing the Pfizer vaccine so far. I think it's a common misperception that the investment needed to store and transport the Pfizer vaccine is huge. In fact, it's not. And when you look at, for example, a vaccine today, I think it's commonly accepted that a vaccine will cost you 1,000 rupees. The cost of the
Yes.
logistics of the vaccine comes to less than a rupee, right? Whether it's so basically you're saying, am I ready to invest 1 rupee per dose of the Pfizer vaccine to bring it to India? And when you look at the challenges around vaccine shortages and the fact, as you rightly mentioned, that the Pfizer vaccine is a lot more efficacious, yeah, I think the question is really not a question. I mean, it's easy to invest 1 rupee more per dose. It will not impact anybody at all.
Right. So would you say that as far as investment on the government's part is concerned, that area needs to improve? As you rightly mentioned, not just the efficacy of Pfizer vaccine, but also the big question is shortage of vaccine. Every second day, we ourselves are reporting on how centers at various metropolitans had to be shut because there were just no vaccines available.
Absolutely, and in such a scenario, I think what you can do is to maximize the supply of vaccines. Of course, you need to still have them going through the regulatory mechanism to make sure that they're working well, they have no adverse consequences, and so on. But I think the Pfizer vaccine, I mean, when you look at it, it is by and large administered in most parts of the world, and there is no question around its efficacy or around the side effects. So, for me, it is of course a matter of deep regret that the vaccine hasn't come to India yet.
Well, absolutely. And it's honestly eye-opening for someone like me as well. And I'm quite updated, when it comes to health news, that the logistical cost is as low as a rupee. And I think that's an investment which government should make and perhaps look into your advice. But before I let you go, final question, sir. A word of advice, other than what you spoke about, of course, furthermore investment when it comes to logistical support for transferring, storing vaccine. What would be your suggestion, or what do you think India needs to do in the coming years, at least perhaps, to ensure that we have a robust cold chain system?
Well, I think a matter of great pride for India is to be known as the vaccine capital of the world. Right? But the big challenge that India does have is once the vaccine leaves the factory, for example, of Serum Institute, the cold chain is really abysmal. And today you have a lot of interesting technologies, new technologies to ensure that the vaccine is stored and transported correctly, but also in terms of monitoring. Right. So there is real-time monitoring, which is easily available. You can look online. For example, at the click of a button, I can see the status of more than 30,000 units around the world and make sure that each and every one of them is at the right temperature. Because at the end of the day, the cold chain really is a matter of life or death. And by ensuring the right cold chain, you're helping save lives. And I don't think there is anything more powerful than that.
Well, absolutely. I think you rounded it up and summed it up very well for us. Thank you, sir, for joining us. I think there are some great advices there. If any government official is listening, we would request, of course, the government to consider the suggestions which private players in the cold chain system are making. As we end, a small reminder for our viewers, we started a subscribe button. It's a free subscription to subscribe to our website and, of course, our YouTube page as well. Thank you so much.